Hi, this is Kimball Bullington, and we're continuing our look at the analyze phase of DMAIC, and in particular, generating hypotheses or guesses on what the causes of the problems are. So, as we look at both the data analysis and process analysis, you see this common sticky storming. So, actually, if you look in your yellow belt memory jogger or some other tool for yellow belts or green belts, you're going to see brainstorming mentioned. Occasionally someone will challenge brainstorming and talk about the flaws. I'm not going to get into that in detail here. I just invite you to go Google brainstorming problems or problems with brainstorming, and you'll find that they've been identified for a long time, and they're serious problems. So I use a process. I'm not the only one that uses this, but I use a process that I refer to as sticky storming because we use sticky notes in the process. It's sort of a combination of nominal group technique and other types of substitutions for brainstorming. So I'm going to take you through the process. So you first start with silent idea generation. So this is immediately a departure from brainstorming where people just start bouncing, calling out ideas. Quantity matters here. Get as many as you can silently. Usually give a time, maybe 3 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood to do that. One idea per 3x3 sticky notes. So we use I generally use this size sticky note. It seems to work the best. I like the square. The square shape actually comes in handy a little bit later on. I either use some sort of really dark, like felt tip pen, or use whiteboard markers. You can use Sharpies. It's just that if you have a room where you have a whiteboard and Sharpies are around, eventually the Sharpies will be used on the whiteboard. Begin posting the sticky notes up on a wall or whiteboard. Generally speaking, you can ask questions if you need to clarify, but no defending, no advocating, no criticizing at this point. We want the ideas to sort of stand on their own at first. So build on the ideas of others. So if you see someone has an idea that causes you to think of something else, then write it down. More ideas, the better. Post the ideas, and then quite often we'll multi-vote at this point, or maybe right after we create an affinity diagram. So we start out, so you have a board that's filled with these ideas. I use different colors just to sort of represent the fact that different people are involved in the process. And then we invite people to begin to sort these ideas into groups. That is, these ideas have an affinity for each other. So we call this an affinity diagram. And so here we have 3 categories: internal, processes, and industry. And so we use these larger sticky notes as sort of titles for this. Then next, the next step is one you may not be used to doing, is we do something called interrelationship diagram. So we take those affinity diagrams, so we begin to draw arrows between ideas that are related or that work together in some way or another. And what you see from this at some point is around certain ideas you'll have concentrations of arrows, and that begins to say, okay, maybe that's a little more important idea than some of the others. And then once you do that, here's a case when we said college support, and actually once we had written this down and circled it, we said, ooh, what about university support? And so we added university support. Sorry for the mess up here. I didn't notice this until I'd already put it up here. So we've identified certain ideas that maybe they are a little more important than some of the other ideas. Then we take those same sticky notes. So we take a picture. So we've recorded our interrelationship diagram. We've recorded our affinity diagram with a picture. And now we take those same sticky notes and we put them on a cause and effect diagram. So here, this is the example here with supply chain management program success. And the measures are just slight modifications of the classic 6 M's. 6M is manpower, methods, machines, materials, measures, Mother Nature. I've changed some of these for probably obvious reason. People is a better word than manpower. Processes is a more current term than methods. Methods is still good, but we don't use that term as much as we used to. I use environment instead of Mother Nature because whenever you say Mother Nature, you think of recycling and being green and not having carbon in the atmosphere. In environment, we're talking about any forces outside of our system that affect our system. So it could be political environment, cultural environment, economic environment, competitive environment, and so on. So we just put each of the sticky notes on the bone of the fish that is most closely related. And when I did that, we were left with 3 sticky notes that I just don't really have a home. And you're also left with this one bone, technology, which is my substitute for machines. And it only has 1 note. And so, well, that's not so good. And so thought, let's make a substitution for technology that might accommodate these 3 leftovers. See if we can do something like that. And can we put Excel somewhere else? And so we did. And we put Excel up here. It fits in information because it's an information processing tool. Our program, we got these 3 fit there. And so, okay, let's see. Now we look at it. We're still weak here. I'm going to look at environment. The environment maybe seems a little bit weak compared to some of the other. We've got a lot of processes. We've got a lot of people identified. What will I do? Well, we had forgotten the accelerated bachelor's to master's as a program. And hey, we had forgotten our supply chain management major in the program. So that's a big deal. Area Chamber of Commerce, Tennessee Pathway, we added number of students. Because we went back and challenged measures, we thought of, well, duh, this is actually the biggest measure that we have because this is one that people get paid over. This is the one where we justify our salary based on this. This is the funding for the university. This is a big deal. This will sell the program or not. And actually put Area Chamber of Commerce here and here because there's certain people associated with that were important. Industry partners, college support, university support. This is an area that we had a solution. We had a person. We had a partner, and now she's leaving. So that's actually a sad one. But after our initial, the interrelationship diagram basically identified most of these circles up here that we've got either dashed or dotted. And just in going back over them, we decided if number of students is critical, then recruiting as a process is critical because that's how we get our number of students. So here are some potential key causes for supply chain management success. Now you can use this tool, the sticky storming process. The original sticky storm, affinity diagram, the interrelationship diagram, and then cause and effect diagram. You can use that whole process if you're looking at problems. I just used it in this case to create a desired solution rather than look at a problem. We can look at collect data through time and motion studies or videotaping setups or analyzing jobs. And all of this is on the generating hypotheses. And in our 3rd video of this set, we'll look at verifying causes.